Good evening, class 10. Today we are going to discuss about the properties of salts. So first one is solubility. Now all sodium, potassium and ammonium salts are soluble. All nitrates and nitrites are soluble. All chlorides, bromides and iodides are soluble except lead chloride, silver chloride, mercurous chloride. All sulfates are soluble except barium sulfate, lead sulfate, calcium sulfate. All sulfides, carbonates and phosphates are insoluble except sodium, potassium and ammonium salts. And the last one is sodium and potassium bicarbonate are sparingly soluble in water. That means they partially dissolve in water. Next property is hydrolysis. Now hydrolysis is a phenomenon in which a salt reacts with water to produce a neutral, acidic or basic solution. So basically we have three types of salt: salts of strong acid and strong base, salts of weak acid and strong base, and salts of strong acid and weak base. Now basically your hydrolysis is the reverse of neutralization process. Now salts of strong acid and strong base are NaNO3, then NaCl, K2SO4, etc. Right? So this salts when reacts with water, the overall solution, the nature of the solution is neutral. NaNO3 is formed from strong acid, that is nitric acid HNO3, and strong base NaOH. NaCl is formed from strong base NaOH and your strong acid HCl. Similarly, K2SO4 is formed from acid H2SO4 and KOH, both of which are strong acid and strong bases. So whenever salt of strong acid and strong base, they will react with water, the nature of the solution will be neutral, or I can say pH will be equals to 7. Next we have salts of strong acid and weak base. Strong acid and weak base means like copper sulfate, zinc sulfate, then your magnesium sulfate, etc. Okay, so these are salts of strong acid and weak base. So whenever they react with water, the nature of the solution will be what? Acidic, and pH will be less than 7. Right? Last category under this, we have salts of weak acid and strong base. This one, sodium acetate, potassium carbonate or sodium carbonate, etc. This one, they are salts of your weak acid and strong base. So their overall nature of the solution will be basic. When this salts reacts with water, the nature of the solution will be basic. That means pH will be greater than 7. Okay. Now next property, we have water of crystallization. Now water of crystallization represents definite amount of water molecules that are in loose chemical combination with a salt. Now depending on water of crystallization, we have two types of substances. One is your hydrated substances and the second one is anhydrous substances. Now hydrated substances are those which contains water of crystallization and they are crystalline in nature. Example, we have blue vitriol, that is copper sulfate hydrated. We have green vitriol, ferrous sulfate hydrated, then we have washing soda, that is hydrated sodium carbonate, etc. Right, so these are your hydrated substances which contains water of crystallization. Now next we have anhydrous substances. Anhydrous substances are those substances which does not contain water of crystallization, okay, but they may be crystalline or amorphous in nature. So example of anhydrous substances which are crystalline in nature, example is your NaNO3, NaCl, your sugar, that is C12H22O11. These are your anhydrous substances, means they do not contain water of crystallization but still they are crystalline in nature. Next, examples of anhydrous substances that are amorphous in nature. like your example zinc carbonate, calcium carbonate, etc. Next property is efflorescence. Now, efflorescence is a phenomenon in which substances, when exposed to atmosphere, they lose water of crystallization. Now, examples of efflorescence. Now, usually all the hydrated salts means substances or salts containing water of crystallization, they only exhibit efflorescence, right? That means blue vitriol, then washing soda, Glauber salt, then your green vitriol, white vitriol, Epsom salt. Everyone is the ones which are containing water of crystallization, they will be exhibiting efflorescence phenomenon, right? Next we have deliquescence. Deliquescence is a phenomenon in which substances, when exposed to atmosphere, absorb moisture and dissolve in it, forming a solution. Example of deliquescent substances are your NaOH, zinc chloride, magnesium chloride, copper nitrate, zinc nitrate, etc. Okay, next phenomenon is your hygroscopic substances. So hygroscopic substances are those substances which, when exposed to atmosphere, absorb moisture without getting dissolved in it. Okay, I mean without getting dissolving in it. Means they will be absorbing moisture but they will not get dissolved in the moisture. Examples of hygroscopic substances are your concentrated sulfuric acid, then your phosphorus pentoxide, calcium chloride, calcium oxide, and then silica gel. These are the following hygroscopic substances. Next we have drying agent. Drying agent are those substances which absorb moisture from other substances without chemically reacting with them. Now, the examples of drying agents are exactly similar to that of the hygroscopic substances. That means all hygroscopic substances will be acting as drying agents. Last one is dehydrating agents. Dehydrating agent are those substances which can remove chemically combined water molecules from a given substance. Example of dehydrating substance is concentrated sulfuric acid. Okay, so concentrated sulfuric acid, when added to compounds like your copper sulfate or sugar, then what will happen? They can remove the chemically combined water molecules from them, right? So H2SO4, I mean concentrated H2SO4 is acting as a dehydrating agent. Okay, so that's it, class 9. Thank you.